Okay. Next story. Everything is set. Everything is all set for November the 9th. Says the senior Catalan regional government official, as the region prepares to defy both the central government and the country's highest court, and proceed with a much disputed weekend vote on whether to secede from Spain. This is really big news that I never heard anywhere. So Catalan, I guess, is where Barcelona is, which would be the east coast of Spain. And we'll read about some of these points. I should have put them all together, but basically they want to separate from Spain. The central government, which is the Spanish government, says you can't do it. The highest court says you can't do it. But they did it anyways. And I don't have the results here. Isn't that funny? You'll have to look for those yourself. To me the results don't matter. Right now they're not seceded, I know that. So even if they say that they didn't win by vote, or they did, it wasn't official anyways, but the results can always be skewed because they're all done on computer. I'm not sure if that one was done on computer, but I wouldn't be surprised, I would be shocked if it wasn't. So this is despotism, where people don't have the right to separate from the government they want. And okay, next story. The United States on Wednesday slapped sanctions on Dutch and Swiss oil trading firms for their dealings with the Syrian government, which has been engaged in bloody civil war with opposition forces. So the United States doesn't like how the Swiss and the Dutch, that's the Netherlands and Sweden, how they're doing business with the Syrian government. Probably because the United States wants a Syrian government for itself, or the CIA does, whoever's behind that, CIA or NSA or whatever. And so they slapped them with with sanctions. Who knows what kind of sanctions they are? I guess basically you can't do business with the United States is what that means. I have here globalism, and that's kind of what it is, because Satan is using the United States as his main head right now in time to do his bidding, and there's probably something good going on in Syria, or Syria is not playing along with Satan's plan, and so Satan is going to try to make Syria pay for that, for not playing along, and that's the globalism, one world government. Next story, Venezuela's food shortage is so bad that the country is mandating that people scan their fingerprints at grocery stores in order to keep people from buying too much of a single item. So people are having problems with hoarding there in Venezuela, and they have some kind of fingerprint system, which they're really cheap. I know Pizza Hut. I've worked for Pizza Hut several years, and we had fingerprint deals, and they're real cheap, and it wasn't like you get grease all over and you just plug it into a computer. Nothing special but the fingerprint technology. So this is despotism, and I really should put globalism, because there'll be a day and time where no man can buy or sell without the mark of the beast, and whoever receives the mark is going to go to hell. That's what the Bible says. Well, I didn't say exactly that, but it's almost certain you get that mark. You're going to hell, which is crazy. That's what it says. Next story, John Coleman, a founder of the Weather Channel, appeared on CNN Sunday to reiterate his stance that climate change is not happening. I didn't hear about that, but I pray the God of the Bible would bless John Coleman for his ability to stand up and have a backbone. It's not easy to say that when you have all these wicked people in control. So what's interesting about that is most people who are reasonable, who are researching things, we all know the climate control is bad. We know that the president is a criminal. And that's not the problem, people knowing it. That's not the... People knowing it isn't an issue. The issue is if people start organizing and start getting power. If you start getting an organization in your local city, and that organization starts getting a lot of power, even to the power of well, that's the problem. That's where they have problems. So they'll look to shut down any leadership, anybody who's building anything. They'll try to shut them down. They don't care that you know that they're criminals. They care if you're starting to organize something that can possibly threaten them. Okay, so next story is the World Court orders sovereign Japan to stop whaling. So the World Court, which is a group of people who say they have the authority over everyone else, somebody gave them the power, or they gave it themselves, is what really happened. They told Japan, a whole nation, to stop whaling, stop hunting whales. And this is globalism, a one world government. Okay, that's an example of that. Next story. Argentina president claims U.S. plotting to oust her. So the president of Argentina is a woman. She said that the U.S. is trying to get her out of presidency. That's what she said, I guess publicly, which wouldn't surprise me at all, because maybe she's an upright person and she's not bowing the knee to Satan, and Satan's got, she can probably see that this woman actually might do some kind of good, and can't have that. So that's globalism. The United States telling people how to run, or not really telling people, they're under the scenes, they're assassinating people, bribing people, doing all manners of wickedness. Mainly the intelligence community of this country, the CIA, NSA, and such. Next story, 11,000 Brazilians killed by police in 5 years. So 11,000 people in Brazil have been killed by police in 5 years. I thought that was an interesting story. It's a lot of people. That's a police state as a label for that. California, next story, California drought turns desperate. It's pretty, if you read about it, you actually can see that it's actually pretty bad. Most of the people that are suffering it's not on television, because most people that are suffering are poor people, mainly poor immigrant, probably illegal alien from Mexico individuals. But it seems like it's pretty bad out there. And there's really droughts all over the place. Next story, top Canada court rules cops don't need warrants to search cell phones. That was pretty recent, to the end of this year. I remember reading that recently. The court in Canada says that cops don't need any warrants to get into your cell phone. And that's kind of a label of two. That's police state and also sanctioned crime. And it's crazy to hear, but that's what's going on. And what's crazy is if they were to give all these news stories in one day, like if, let's say, there was a reputable news organization that released these stories and broadcast them all in one day, people would wake up so hardcore. Well, they might not, but it definitely would have it would wake up a lot more people. It might not wake up everyone who sees, but people would see the writing on the wall and say, "Oh yeah, we're in really bad shape." But as long as they don't report that, you can report one story one day and then have a good story after this story, and it kind of balances out, kind of keeps people in that comfortable zone. You know, man, that was really bad, but hey, look at this. This guy has invented a new sport in water, so it keeps them distracted. And that's how that works. As long as they can keep distracted, they'll be in that comfort zone. And I think we're going to need a little more time for this next story, so we'll move on to the next part here.